I've heard about the strength of Jesus. I've heard about the sovereignty of Jesus. Well, there's a good church word for you. The sovereignty of Jesus. He is sovereign over death and hell and the grave. And I heard about that. But you know what nobody ever told me about? And I want to tell you about it, is how sneaky Jesus was. You're looking at me strange. You're looking at me like you've never heard that Jesus, well, when he got up from the grave, I'll prove this to you that he was sneaky. When he got up from the grave, he left while it was still dark. He left before the sun came up, and he had to knock over a few Roman guards to get out. But after he knocked them over, he slipped out and found the women and appeared to the women, but he didn't appear to a whole crowd when he got up from the grave. Why? Because he's sneaky. He's sneaky. That's why he was born like a baby in a town like Bethlehem, because he's sneaky. He wasn't born in a political capital. He was born in a backwoods town because he's sneaky. I never heard a sermon about sneaky Jesus. Maybe I should preach a whole series one time called Sneaky Jesus. Because watch him. He walks up to Cleo and he's like, what you talking about? Never mind the fact that you are God. Never mind the fact that you are resurrected. Just what you talking about. What's he doing? He's creeping on Cleo. You never heard this kind of preaching before. You think when God shows up, it's always going to be spectacular. That he's gonna show up and something big's gonna happen. No, he's very sneaky. He's very sneaky. He'll just sneak in to ordinary situations. He'll just sneak in ordinary moments. He'll just sneak in. He won't give you any advance notice. He won't ask you to sign a waiver. He won't put a sign in the clouds. None of that, because he's sneaky. One time Peter was in a storm and Jesus came walking out on the water and everybody said, it's a ghost. No, it's Jesus. But he's sneaky. He sneaks up on him. He snuck up in the locked doors when they were waiting for him. He snuck up on Cleo. What makes you think he's not sneaking up on you today? Just because you can't feel him doesn't mean he's not with you. He's sneaky. He's sneaky. He sneaks out of the tomb and he sneaks up on Cleo. Let me tell you what he was doing up on the cross. This is what they didn't understand, and this is why they fled, and this is why they lost their hope, because all they saw was death. But Jesus didn't die so that death could reign. He died to bring victory into the earth. But he couldn't bring victory into the earth looking like victory. He had to dress it up like death and hang it on a cross because he's sneaky. He's sneaky. He's sneaky. And here's what he does. He'll send glory into your life, but it won't look like glory. He'll send blessing into your life, but it won't look like blessing. He'll send patience into your life dressed like your teenager. Think about it. Because he's sneaky. And he'll send some of the best times in your life dressed like some of the hardest times. You don't see it while you're in it. I'm gonna stay right here on this point because y'all are so quiet. I know I'm preaching right to your guts. I'm preaching to your small intestine. Sneaky. He's sneaky. So he's up there on the cross and he says it's finished because he was speaking in code because he's sneaky. To tell us that, because to them, that sounded like it's over. We got him, it's done, he's dead, because he's sneaky. So when he wanted to bring life into the earth, he snuck it in through death. When he wanted to bring peace to the earth, he snuck it in through chaos, because he's sneaky. Sneaky, sneaky. Sneaky Jesus. I'm thankful that he's strong, but I will never understand his strength if I don't learn to see it in sorrow. Because sometimes God will sneak the strength that you've been praying for in your life through the sorrow. Talk to me. Y'all don't have to be quiet. Don't let these people make you quiet. Talk to me. Don't let them intimidate you. But usually we understand that more on the return trip. So they walked all 7 miles, but they didn't recognize Jesus. They were kept from recognizing him. They were kept from recognizing him until he sits down at the table. Watch how sneaky he is. Takes the bread, blesses it, and breaks it. You see what he's doing? Because that's what had happened to his body. Because that's what had happened to their hope. Because that's what always has to happen in your life before you really see the glory of God. And he told them on the road, he said, don't you understand? Did not the Messiah, verse 26, have to suffer these things? Did he not have to suffer these things and then enter his glory? See, glory never looks like glory when it's coming. It never looks like glory when you see it coming. But when he took the bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to them, when he gave it to them, they saw not only the broken bread, but they saw the place where the nails had been, and then they recognized him when he did that, because he's sneaky. And he did not describe it, he demonstrated it. So he goes, hey, let's eat. Boom, bip, bang. And they saw it. And they're like, oh yeah, and that's how it is. It's after I've walked the whole walk, and after I've run, and after I've tried, and after I've cried, and after I've hurt, and then I see it. It was him all along. He had to suffer. But you don't get it while you're in it. I mean, let's be real. Sometimes our memory is much more enjoyable than our experience. I'm talking about family vacation now. It's hilarious. You look at the pictures and talk about what a great time it was. No, it wasn't. You've edited the family vacation in your memory. You've clipped it together. You took out the part where you threatened to give the kids up for adoption. When you're in it, you don't see it. But resurrection is a round trip. Did not the Messiah have to suffer these things and then enter into his glory? And when they saw that, they got up. Look at verse 33. They got up and they turned around and they went back. Now watch this. I called this series 7 Mile Miracle. I shouldn't have. It's really a 14-mile miracle. Because the first 7, they walked without the light. The second 7, they walked back, and now they knew. God said, today is somebody's second 7 miles. Now you see it. Now you get it. This is your turning point. This is that moment where you see he was with me all along. It's turnaround time. It's turnaround time. It's turnaround time. I walked 7 miles in shame, but now I'm walking this second 7 in freedom. This is my turning point. I'm not staying in Emmaus. And so they walked back to Jerusalem, and they got together with Peter and the disciples, and Jesus snuck into the room, and he revealed himself, and he said, peace, peace. He released. Now let me point out something to you that every sneakerhead in here will understand. There is a difference between the reveal and the release. Why do they show you the shoe 3 months before they will sell it to you? Let me break it down another way. You remember when the iPad first came out? No? Well, let me remind you. For me, it was a big deal because I thought, well, I'm gonna get one of those and I'm gonna preach from it. And I'll be cutting edge, preaching from my iPad. I looked so cool preaching from my iPad. And Steve Jobs did a reveal where he went through the iPad and all the features of the iPad. And I saw it, and I was so excited to get an iPad. And I told one of our staff members, I said, I'm gonna go get one of those tomorrow. And they said, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. I said, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna be one of the first preachers in America. I might not be the smartest preacher in America, but I might not be one of the best either, but I will be one of the first to preach from an iPad. I'm going to get an iPad. They said, you can't go get an iPad. It's not gonna be out for several months because there is a space between the reveal and the release. That's where hope gets lost. In that space between the reveal and the release is called Saturday. It's when you're sitting around and you thought God was gonna, and you just knew God was gonna, and you were sure that they would never, and then they did. It's called space. That's where faith grows. In between 2 points. Between the reveal and the release. And that's what the cross was. It was the reveal. And it was the release. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the message, just do 2 simple things before you go. Click the logo to subscribe to this channel so you won't miss a video. I promise I'll make it worth your while. And second, take a minute and share it with somebody who could use it, or just leave a comment. I love to hear how these videos are impacting you. It means a lot to me. Thanks again for watching.